No matter what happens, I'll be there. Every game, every city. That was Caitlin Clark's final message to fans before news broke that she's stepping away from the WNBA. And just like that, a statement that sounded like a humble nod to her road game attendance suddenly felt like a goodbye. A final bow wrapped in loyalty and ambiguity. Let's not sugarcoat it. This changes everything. The face of the league. The rookie who single-handedly put the WNBA back into pop culture headlines. The woman who packed arenas, spiked jersey sales, and made sports fans care about May basketball is gone.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
At least for now. And if you're confused, yeah, so is everyone else. Because Caitlin didn't go out with fireworks. She didn't drop a mic or slam a door. She left a breadcrumb trail of subtle signals, cryptic interviews, and that now infamous message, "I'll be at every road game, even if I'm not playing." We all missed it. Until now. Because the rumors? They're not just rumors anymore. Caitlin Clark is leaving the WNBA. And the why? It's not just one reason. It's a perfect storm of exhaustion, politics, and a system that couldn't handle the weight of the icon it created. Let's rewind. Her rookie season was supposed to be a fairy tale, and in many ways it was. She didn't just debut, she detonated. 19.2 points per game, 8.4 assists, nearly 6 rebounds. She dragged the Indiana Fever out a years-long slump and into the playoffs in one season. The team hadn't seen the postseason in 7 years, and here comes Caitlin, all fire and finesse, making it look inevitable. But the numbers? They were just the beginning. Because Clark wasn't just a basketball player. She was a movement. Everywhere she went, the seats filled. The chant started. The ticket resale prices skyrocketed. You couldn't scroll Twitter or open ESPN without seeing her name. And for the first time in decades, the WNBA had a player who transcended the sport. She brought in new fans, families, first-time W watchers, kids who never even held a basketball. She wasn't just making noise, she was changing the demographic. And yet, behind the flashbulbs and sold-out arenas, something started to feel off. The hits she took on the court got harder. The fouls didn't get called. The praise from media turned into questions. Then criticism. Then shade. Then came the whispers. She's not really that good. She's overhyped. She needs to toughen up. And let's be honest, none of that made sense. She was delivering, night after night, playing through injuries, leading the league in assists, filling arenas, breaking records. But somehow, she became the league's most polarizing figure in the same league she was saving. What started as awe turned into backlash. What started as celebration became sabotage. And the league? They let it happen. They let opposing players target her. They let the discourse spiral. They let refs look the other way. And they never once, not once, stepped in to say, "This is our star. We protect our stars." Because here's the ugly truth. The WNBA wasn't ready for Caitlin Clark. Not financially, not structurally, not culturally. The same league that pays its top talent less than $1 million over 4 years was now relying on a rookie to be the engine of its entire ecosystem. They wanted the attention. They wanted the ratings. They wanted the merch sales. But when it came time to offer real support, real protection, real value, they couldn't. Or worse, they wouldn't. And that's where things started to unravel. Because Caitlin Clark, as loyal as she is, isn't naive. She sees the numbers. She knows she can make 10 times her WNBA salary overseas. She knows players like Breanna Stewart and Brittany Griner did the same. She knows her prime won't last forever. So why stick around in a league that can't protect you, can't pay you, and can't stop weaponizing your name for clicks? And still, she didn't rage quit. She didn't ghost the fans. She showed up. Every game, every city, even injured, even under fire, even when it felt like the league didn't have her back. Until she didn't. And now, her final message hits different. It wasn't a rally cry. It was a farewell. A quiet one. The kind that leaves you sitting in silence after reading it. Because you know there's something more she wanted to say, but didn't. And now, we're all left to wonder. Where does the W go from here? Because Caitlin Clark was the moment. She was the rebrand. She was the growth strategy. She was the bridge between niche and mainstream. And now, that bridge is cracking. Let's talk business. Because the WNBA didn't just lose a player, they lost a revenue model. Clark's presence boosted everything. TV ratings went up by hundreds of percentage points. Her jersey outsold every veteran in the league combined. Team valuations increased just because she got drafted. Corporate sponsors flocked to the league. National outlets started giving W coverage prime slots. And now, all of that is at risk. Because the WNBA never fixed its underlying problem. It doesn't have a structure built to retain its icons. Not just because of the pay gap, but because of the culture gap. They want heroes, but they resent fame. They want superstars, but they don't protect them. They want ratings, but they ignore reality. And Caitlin Clark was the breaking point. She tried. God, she tried. She gave the league everything. And when she needed something back, it wasn't there. So now she's gone. Maybe to Europe. Maybe to the broadcast booth. Maybe just gone for a while. And the league? Sitting in the ashes of a moment they mishandled from day one. The fans are devastated. The players are split. The sponsors are nervous. And the silence from WNBA leadership? Deafening. No statement. No gratitude. No transparent address of what this means for the future. Because how do you explain losing the player who was supposed to define the next decade? How do you spin the fact that, in one season, you built an empire around a rookie and let it all crumble because you couldn't evolve fast enough to keep up? Caitlin Clark's final message wasn't loud. It wasn't angry, but it was clear. She's walking away, and she's doing it on her terms. And that quiet exit, that's louder than any dunk, any triple-double, any sold-out game. Because when the biggest star in women's basketball walks out the door, not with drama, but with quiet disappointment, that's when you know something's deeply wrong. And if the league doesn't fix it, she won't be the last. And now that Caitlin Clark is gone, really gone, there's a hole in the league no press release or highlight reel can patch over. Because this wasn't just about star power. This was about hope. Clark wasn't just the best rookie the WNBA's ever seen. She was the reset button. The one who made people believe the league could finally break through the cultural ceiling that's hovered over it for 25 years. Now, that ceiling feels like concrete. Let's talk about why this hurts so much. Caitlin wasn't a drama queen. She didn't demand trade requests or take passive-aggressive shots at teammates. She worked. She hustled. She put up 30-point games while being doubled and shoved and held. She played through the noise, through injuries, through snide comments from vets, through entire stretches of games where the officiating felt like performance art. She did all of that and still managed to show up post-game with grace and poise, thanking fans, uplifting teammates, giving credit even when the league didn't give her a shred of protection. So now that she's gone, fans aren't just upset. They feel guilty. Because we watched it happen in real time. We saw the slaps, the shoulder checks, the elbows disguised as screens. We watched her body take the hits while commentators whispered about toughness. We listened as the conversation around her shifted from praise to resentment, like it was a crime to be talented, popular, and new. And what do? We try to justify it. She'll be fine. She's young, she'll bounce back. She just needs to adjust to the league. No. She needed the league to adjust to her. She brought millions of new fans. She gave the WNBA its first truly mainstream breakout in decades. She handled the pressure of being a generational talent with more maturity than most leagues ever see from a rookie. And in return, she got torn down from the inside by coaches who didn't protect her, by referees who refused to call obvious fouls, by opposing players who saw her success as a threat instead of a victory for all of them. By a league that wanted her image, but not her influence. Let's pause on that, because that's the part that's especially damning. The WNBA wanted Caitlin Clark the image, the white-hot rookie phenom, the ticket-selling machine, the viral clip generator. But Caitlin Clark the person? The woman who wanted real investment, real support, real progress? That version made people uncomfortable, because she represented change. She represented the uncomfortable conversation the league still hasn't had. What happens when your star is bigger than your system? The WNBA for years has operated on community, on unity, on "we're all in this together." It's been beautiful and powerful, but it's also become rigid, resistant to change, suspicious of disruption. Caitlin was disruption. She brought attention the league hadn't seen before, and instead of rising with her, the system buckled. Players resented her before knowing her. Media picked her apart for ratings. Fans started arguing about her more than cheering for her. And when the spotlight turned harsh, the league should have stepped in, should have had her back. But they didn't. They left her out there, alone. And when you do that to your biggest star, your future walks away. Let's talk numbers again because they matter. Caitlin Clark was making roughly $76,000 in WNBA salary. $76,000 for carrying an entire league on her back. You know what she could make in Turkey, Spain, or China? 10 times that. For less exposure, less travel, and frankly, more respect. The idea that she'd even consider leaving the WNBA should have terrified the league. Instead, they played it cool. They shrugged off the warning signs. They said, she's here to stay. Well, surprise. Because when you don't value someone properly, they find value elsewhere. And that's exactly what Caitlin's about to do. Whether she signs with a European club, takes a media deal, or builds her own brand empire off the court, she'll be fine. But the league? Not so much. Because without her, everything looks smaller, less urgent, less magnetic. TV execs are already asking, what's next? Networks who were ready to double down on WNBA coverage are suddenly hesitant. Ratings projections are being revised. Sponsorships that were Caitlin-centered are quietly reconsidering their next move. And don't forget about the fans, especially the ones who tuned in because of her. They bought the jerseys. They paid for League Pass. They watched their first WNBA games ever because of her. And now, they're seeing the league that got their attention wasted. You think they're going to stick around for business, as usual? No shot. And here's what hurts the most. This was avoidable. All the league had to do was protect her, invest in her, acknowledge her without resentment, step up with infrastructure to match her influence. Instead, they kept running the same playbook, the "we know best" strategy, the "earn your stripes" gatekeeping, the "she'll adjust" complacency. But Clark wasn't the one who needed to adjust. The WNBA did. And now that she's gone, they'll be forced to, because she proved the league could be bigger than its past. She proved that millions of people were ready to watch if you gave them something magnetic. She proved that women's basketball has a global, cultural momentum waiting to be unlocked. And then she left, not with drama, not with a tell-all interview, but with a quiet message, a steady stare, and a level of dignity that the league didn't earn, but she gave anyway. So here we are. Caitlin Clark has walked away, and the WNBA now faces its most important question ever. Who are you without her? Because the answer will determine everything. And the silence from league headquarters? It's deafening. No emergency press conference. No tribute video. No policy shift. Just the same stiff corporate boilerplate. We respect Caitlin's decision and thank her for her contributions. That's it. That's all you've got? This woman just carried your entire league through the most high-profile season in WNBA history, and your response sounds like she's retiring from a part-time job at a smoothie bar. This isn't just a departure. It's an indictment. Because when the brightest light in your league dims and you don't even blink, you're telling every other player, every young girl watching, and every future draft pick that they're on their own. That loyalty won't be matched. That talent might be celebrated, but it won't be protected. And now, the entire infrastructure is teetering. Let's look at what happens now, post-Caitlin. First, the schedule loses its gravitational pull. The games Caitlin was supposed to headline, suddenly less urgent. The Fever's ticket sales, already slipping. The primetime broadcasts, being quietly moved to off hours. You can feel the energy shift. It's not just that Clark is gone. It's that the story left with her. Because say what you want about other stars, there are plenty of elite players in the WNBA. But there's only one Clark-level phenomenon. The kind of player who makes non-sports fans show up. The kind who crosses into late-night shows, brand deals, trending TikToks, and Fashion Week front rows. She was everywhere. And now that she's nowhere, that vacuum is huge. And don't think this hasn't rattled the locker rooms, either. Because Caitlyn's not just a rookie walking away. She's a blueprint. And, you know, what other players are starting to realize? That blueprint can work for them, too. Let's talk about the ripple effect. If you're another marketable player, say Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, or even a vet like Sabrina Ionescu, you're watching this unfold and thinking, if Caitlyn can walk, maybe I can too. Especially when Europe, China, and Australia are calling. Especially when brands are offering nil-style payouts that dwarf WNBA checks. Especially when you can avoid a system that didn't even have Caitlyn's back. It's not just about money. It's about respect. It's about quality of life. It's about working in an ecosystem that values you as more than a logo. Caitlyn Clark made the WNBA richer, louder, and bigger, and still felt like she had to leave to grow. So now imagine being a rising star, watching all this happen. You grind for years, get drafted, and land in a league where the brightest talent of the decade just opted out. What message does that send? It says, you'll be used, not championed. It says, you'll be asked to build the league, but not be built up. It says, you better have a plan B. And then there's the issue of recruitment. Because college players talk. And right now, the talk isn't glowing. They saw what Caitlyn endured. The physicality, the online hate, the targeted fouls, the referees swallowing whistles, the constant criticism, the resentment for being successful. They saw all of it and how the league shrugged. So when it comes time for a superstar college senior to choose between the WNBA and going pro overseas, do you think they're not doing that math? Because playing in Istanbul or Melbourne or Valencia might not get you national headlines, but it will get you more pay, more rest, more love from your own league. And none of the political landmines Caitlyn had to navigate just to exist. And let's not even start on the brand partnerships. Because Caitlyn Clark's departure creates chaos in the sponsorship world. Nike, Under Armour, Gatorade, all those brands who put millions into her image now have to pivot. Her campaigns were anchored to her WNBA presence. What happens now? Do they rework everything to focus on her overseas? Or do they step back and reassess their commitment to the league entirely? And brands who were on the fence about the W, they're hesitating even more now. They're asking themselves, if the biggest star leaves this quickly, how stable is this league, really? Because the truth is, Clark didn't leave for drama. She left because of structure. She left because the system wasn't built to hold her. It was too slow, too small, too unwilling to evolve. She left because the WNBA was still trying to operate like a niche product, while Clark was playing on a global stage. And here's the thing that might sting the most for the league. She didn't fail the WNBA. The WNBA failed her. They had lightning in a bottle, a generational talent, a golden ticket, and they dropped it. They couldn't support the pressure. They couldn't elevate her without letting jealousy and dysfunction sink in. They let her get bodied on court. They let the noise drown her out. They couldn't rise to meet her. So she left. And what's left behind? A league in free fall, trying to figure out if it can survive the very star it wasn't ready to handle. And the fans? They're still reeling. Not because Clark quit. Not because they're mad at her. But because they understand. And that's the worst part for the WNBA. The fans are siding with Caitlyn. Because they saw it. They felt it. They know she did everything right. And still got burned. So now, we watch. We wait. We see if the league finally wakes up, or if this becomes the beginning of the end. Because if the WNBA doesn't address what happened here, if they don't admit to their mistakes, overhaul the way they support players, and create real protections for the stars they claim to care about, they won't just lose Clark. They'll lose the next one, and the one after that. And eventually, they'll lose the whole damn thing. Because Caitlyn Clark didn't just change the game. She exposed it. Caitlyn Clark's quiet exit from the WNBA didn't come with fireworks. It came with a gut punch. One final message. I'll be at every road game, even if I'm not playing. At first, it read like reassurance. Now, it reads like a farewell wrapped in loyalty. And suddenly, everything feels different. Clark wasn't just the WNBA's biggest star. She was its future. The rookie who shattered viewership records, packed arenas, and brought a new generation of fans into the fold. But instead of being celebrated, she was picked apart, fouled hard, undervalued, and worse, ignored when it mattered most. Behind the highlight reels and sold-out crowds, there was exhaustion, a system that wanted her shine but couldn't protect her from the backlash that came with it. While Clark lifted the league to new heights, it refused to rise with her. And now, she's stepping away, not for drama, not out of ego, but because the math doesn't add up. Overseas, she can make 10x the money, play fewer games, get the respect the W never gave her. And honestly, who could blame her? The WNBA had lightning in a bottle and let it slip. Clark gave everything. The league gave back confusion, missed calls, and silence. Now sponsors are nervous, fans are devastated, and future stars are watching this play out, wondering if they'll be next. Caitlin Clark didn't just leave. She exposed a system not built to hold someone like her. And if the WNBA doesn't learn fast, she won't be the last to walk. Because when your brightest star says enough, it's not just an exit, it's a warning.